The hell are you doing in my father's office? The sudden sound of her voice shattered the silence, causing her to freeze in her tracks. Her heart skipped a beat as she slowly turned around, her eyes widening in alarm at the sight of Jungkook standing in the doorway. I was just, she stammered. His eyes narrowed as he took a step closer. Just what? I was just looking for something, she managed to say, and don't know exactly how to. Are you out of your mind? Do you think this is some kind of a job? Tell me, what are you doing here? Now speak. I'm just trying to find something. She admitted, her gaze fixed on the window. If I confirm it, I will tell you. He pulled her closer, his grip firm as he held her chin, forcing her to meet his gaze. Tell me now. She hesitated, unsure of how to reveal, but then something inside her urged to speak the truth no matter the consequence. I saw something in Clara's hand. A ring. It was the same one I saw one of the kidnappers during the incident. The one who used to. She bit her lips, the memories of terrifying ordeals flooding back. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves before continuing. They mostly kept me knocked out, without food or water. And there was this woman. She was the one who commanded everything. I only saw her once, not her face, but when she slapped me, she said so many things about you, how much she hates you, and I don't know what they wanted from me. It felt like they were planning or waiting for something, like they were already knew you would come to save me. They wanted to kill you. His expression softened as he listened to her words. He kissed her cheeks to calm her down. Relax, take a deep breath. So she did take a deep breath. Are you sure about it? The whole thing you just said, or it's an assumption? You look at him a little offended. I am. But I know you won't believe me, so I wanted to confirm it first. It's not about belief, Yun. You have no idea what you are accusing her of. I know she may seem peculiar at times, but she's my father's wife. I can't accuse her of something like this without concrete evidence. Of course, you believe her more than you believe me, right? After all, she must be close to you. You spend so much time with her. Jungkook's expression hardened, his jaw visibly clenched. What are you implying with that? He had no plan of another fight, but her words were something that made his blood boil. I'm just saying it's art, the way she looked at you, the way she always touching you. That was the final straw for Jungkook. His temper flared, his eyes flashing with anger as he cut her off. Enough, Yoon. I want to stand here and listen to you accuse me of something so absurd. I can't believe you would say such a thing. She flinched at his sharp tone, her heart raced faster. She didn't expect him to react so angrily. Her anger washing away, replacing with guilt, and then she realized she really crossed the line. She watched him running his hand through his hair. She cut down the sudden lump in her throat. Jungkook, out! He growled, cutting her off before she could finish. Her heart sank at his command, but she swallowed her pride and tried to speak again. Jungkook, get out. Get out before I do something I will regret later. He didn't spare her glance as she spoke, his attention focused elsewhere. She lowered her head and forced her feet out to walk out. She grabbed the knob and looked at him and then stepped out, closing the door behind with a click. She sighed but flinched when she heard the sound of something breaking from inside. Her heart quickened a space as she stared at the closed door, and then gulped when she heard another, and then she knew she had truly screwed up this time. Suddenly her phone rang, bringing her back from her thoughts. She fired, seeing the unknown number on her screen. Should she answer it? Who would it be? No one really called her. Her gaze drifted back to Jungkook, and then she took a deep breath before pressing the answer button. Her blood ran cold. It was her aunt. Jun, my dear. She heard the voice after months. Now, what does she want from her? Didn't she make that clear that she didn't want any relationship with them anymore? But what caught her attention was strength in her voice. Was she sobbing? What do you want? She asked. Don't call. There was a pause on the other line before her aunt spoke again. You know, your uncle, he's been shot. She's still in her place, shot. They need to operate, but they need huge amount of money for the surgery. You listen to her words, not exactly knowing how to react. She should not shake the bitterness and resentment that had festered in her heart for so long. And why did you call me? His voice was cold. Did you call me because you needed money? Where does all the money go, huh? You sold me for it, didn't you? There was another tense silence for the other end of the line. We have been robbed, she admitted. All the money we had is gone. She closed her eyes as she held the phone. She felt a surge of anger mixing with the guilt and sadness that she was about to say. With a shaky breath, she finally found the courage to speak. I broke all the ties with you the day I left, she said, so don't even call me again. Nor it's not my headache what's going on in your family. She ended the call abruptly, without waiting for her reply, her heart pounding in her chest as she tried to steady her breathing. Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring her vision as she struggled to compose herself. She was not like this. What happened to her? It does not feel like she's lost and she don't know anything what she wanted now. She wiped her tears hastily. She's suddenly feeling like an awful person. She turned around. She was startled to find Jungkook standing there, his hands in his pocket. As he stared at him in silence, she looked away, feeling vulnerable under his gaze. Who was it? He asked. Tone was calm. She hesitated for a moment before replying. It was my aunt. What was she saying? Was it you? She blurted out, her words foreign in confusion. What was it mean? Did you order your man to shoot my uncle and take the money back? Jungkook's eyes narrowed as he took a step closer, his presence commanding yet strangely comforting. What if it was me? He countered. What would you do about it? Unable to meet his gaze, she looked away, her heart pounding in her chest. What would she possibly do if she admitted such a thing? Seeing her hesitation, Jungkook spoke again, his voice felt steady. Let me answer my own question. No, it was not me, he stated firmly, his eyes never leaving hers. But if it was, you would have heard about his death, not a plea for help. She met his gaze, no longer shocked by his stamina. His hands touched her cheeks, silently wiping away her tears. For a moment she allowed herself to bask in the warmth of his touch, but then his words pulled her back to reality. Is there anything left you want to accuse me of? Sunshine? She felt the pang of guilt at his words. She looked away from his gaze. Her fingers nervously fiddled with the hem of her shirt. I'm sorry, she muttered. His hand dropped from her face, returning to his pocket. He turned away from her, his gaze fixed outside. It was clear that the accusation had affected me, even if he didn't show it openly. I didn't mean those words. I was angry and I lashed out without thinking. He could remain silent. His back still turned her, but she could sense his action. She wished she could take back her words. Jungkook, I don't want to talk about it. In their silence, there was a long pause. Silence that was peaceful, yet uncomfortable for her. My mother used to tell me everything would be okay, no matter how things had got. She always there for me, comfort me, reassure me. She was my best friend. She used to tell me stories, take me in bed, and make me laugh even when the times were tough. His voice was low. He missed those times where everything was innocent, but they killed her, and there was nothing I could do to save her. I was just a kid, powerless to save the person I loved the most in the world. And when she was gone, I felt like I had lost a part of myself. My father was busy saving girls, indulging himself in work so no one could get her to build something for her. That's when I take control over. When I was 14, I became distant, close off. I swore to myself that I would never let anyone close to me again. I didn't want to feel the pain of loss ever again. But he continued, A flicker of vulnerability crossed his features, his gaze shifting towards finally. Then you came along. You broke through the walls with your kindness, your patience. You listened to my relentless nonsense even when I cringed on my own words and pretended to be someone I was not. But you still smiled. She felt her heart ache at his words. She realized the depth of his pain and the courage it took for him to share it with her about her past. But when you started to pull away, I panicked. I was afraid of losing the one person who had managed to break through my walls, who had brought light into my darkness, and I acted out of fear, out of desperation. I tried to hold you by force, tried to everything I could make you stay with me. But then I realized how wrong I was. His voice trailed off. She just stared at him, her heart aching for some reason, and a heavy sigh escaped his lips as he turned around. She watched him, her gaze following his movement as he retrieved something from his drawer. He walked back where he was standing before and placed the paper in front of her, his gaze fixed on the stack of paper in front of her. Documents as if unable to meet her gaze. Her confusion only deepened as she glanced between Jungkook and the papers laid out before. It's your visa. Your acceptance letter. His voice was nonchalant, almost detached, and Yun was frozen in her place, her eyes fixed on his face as he spread the papers out for her on the table. And the money I transferred your bank. It's enough for you to start a new life. Anywhere you want, however you want. He sat and looked up at her, meeting her gaze finally. Her heart skipped a beat at his words. Her eyes scanned the documents before her. A wave of disbelief washed over it. This was her freedom, laid out before her, the dream of her becoming a doctor laid in front of her in black and white. Then there was something she should feel overjoyed. She should be happy. That was the moment she always wanted. Then why? There was a hollow feeling in the pit of her stomach. This was it. He was letting her go just like that. She stared up at him. Despite him concealing his emotions, she can see how his eyes were reflecting him, like he was letting her see that he was feeling inside, letting her show that he was not a heartless man as she think of him he is, but a human who would do anything for the person he loved. Why are you doing this? She asked, confused by her own question. Isn't it what she wanted? Then why she is feeling not the way she imagined? Instead, she was confused. Was he letting her go? Didn't he warn her few weeks before that he would never let her go? Because this is what you wanted. This is what's best for you. This is what should I have done sooner. He stood before her, expression unreadable as he gazed down at her. His words were quiet. He had fought against his own desire for so long, clinging to her, even as he knew he had to let her go. He wiped the tears from her eyes. She had a sudden urge to hold him. She wanted to hold him, but her feet remained rooted to the spot. You confused me, almost a whisper as he reached up to cup her face. Then tracing the curve of her chin, she could feel the warmth of his touch seeping into her skin. His gaze lingered on her lips, temptation bearing with restraint as he fought the urge to kiss her. He had never once crossed that line without her consent, and he refused to start now, even though every fiber of his being longed to feel her lips against his. Instead, he leaned in closer, his breath mingling with hers, his forehead resting against hers. He wanted to hold her close, to wrap her in his arms and never let her go, but he can't go back to what he had already decided. She felt her heart fluttering in her chest. Divorce paper will be ready in few months. Whispered against her lips, and her heart clenched at the mention of divorce, her breath catching in her throat as the reality of the situation sunk in. She stared up at him, her vision blurred with tears, unable to tear her gaze away from him, from his solemn expression. So that was the end. He was not going to stop her violently. He stepped back from her hands, making his way back to his pocket. Your flight is tomorrow, he stated firmly, and she watched as he turned around, walking out, her hands trembling at her side as she fought back to hold. The flood of tears threatening to consume her. Every fiber in her body wanted to feel his warmth again, because no matter how many times she refused, she loved his warmth against her body. She just wished they had not met in this kind of situation. The door shutting sound could be heard in the silence of the room. The next day she woke up, she rubbed the sleep from her eyes. She noticed her backpack sitting at the foot of her bed, filled with belongings Jungkook had given her. A reminder that she is no longer staying here. It felt strange to take everything. It was all brought with his money. Everything felt strange. She remembered when she first stepped in this mansion. It was all so new for her. She hated the first step she placed here. passed for months in front of her like a reel, and she closed her eyes, but something made her follow her brows. She heard the sound of raised voices echoing from downstairs. Were those screams or just her imagination running wild? She couldn't be sure, but something told her she should take a peek at least once. Stepping out of bed, she unlocked her door and tiptoed down the hallway. It was early morning and the mansion was mostly quiet, but as she neared the staircase, the commotion grew louder. Peeking her head out, her eyes widened in shock at the scene unfolding for her. Clara was on her knees in front of Jungkook, surrounded by guards who were holding her back. Jungkook stood tall and imposing, Mr. June beside him in his steel chair, his expression unreadable. "You can't do this. You have no right. You brought this upon yourself. You know damn well the consequence of your action." His voice was calm, but there was a steely edge to it that sent shivers down her spine. "You can't just throw me away like this. I have been loyal to you. I always helped you." Jungkook tilted his head, his tone dropping with sarcasm. "Loyal to who, Clara? To the Yun clan? You were never loyal to us. Stop bullshitting. You can't kill me. Because of me, you are all still alive. Because of me, that old man of yours is still breathing. If I had not intervened that day, he too be long gone. You are all ungrateful." Mr. June glared at her. It was true. When he got into accident few years back, she was the one who helped him when no one was there, but he didn't know he made a mistake to let her in. "That was the only reason we tolerated a snake like you. I should have been throw your manipulative games from the start. You even made my loyal man betray me. You're making a mistake, Jungkook. You will regret this. You will be nothing in front of them. They all are prepared, and they will end your existence completely." She screamed and she tried to break free, and you stared at them. So it was true. Clara really the betrayer, and she was poisoning their roots from ears. Her gaze turned towards Mr. June, who was just looking worn out, and she felt bad for him. He was already on the wheelchair, and the person he thought would give him company and stay beside him betrayed him in the worst way possible. Jungkook extended his hand, and Yojin placed the gun in his hand. He cocked the gun, now aiming at her. "And in last wish, stepmother," she screamed and screamed, struggling in the grip of chorus. And Jungkook sighed, "Thought so." And then the sound of gunfire shattered the stillness. Not one, but three, one after one. Yuna's eyes squeezed shut, unable to bear witness the violence. The scream died down, and she finally dared to open her eyes. She was met with the sight of Clara laying lifeless on the floor, her eyes widened, blood flowing out. And Yun realized one of the reasons that she wanted to leave this place, because she doesn't belong to the world of violence. "Yujin?" "Yes, boss." "Send her body wrapped in a box to Yun clan. This will be the last gift for them, before we end them completely." His voice was cold and detached as he ordered. Just then he turned around and their eyes met for a fleeting moment, and then there was no warmth, no remorse, only a void of emotion. He was looking a complete different person. Not like last night, not the one who opened up about his past. He was just staring at her blankly, and she wanted to see any emotion, something, but there was none. And then he walked away. She watched his figure disappearing from view, and emptiness settling in her stomach. She then decided there was nothing for her, and leaving would be the best option. Jungkook removed his coat, hung at the back of his chair. His gun lay on his desk. As he turned to take a seat, the door of his office suddenly slammed open with a loud thud, causing him to glance up, surprised to see Yun standing at the doorway. She didn't even know why she was here, standing in his office, when she should be preparing to leave. But something compelled her to see him one last time before she walked away from his life for good. "Your flight is in an hour. What are you doing here?" "I just wanted to see you one last time." He observed her for a moment, then sighed, motioning her to come closer to him, and she obeyed. She made her way where he was standing until they were face to face. "You always say what you wanted. So what's stopping you now? I know there's something going on inside your head." "I don't want divorce," he finally confessed, her words barely audible. She watched as he caught his brows, clearly surprised by her admission. Hadn't she been the one adamant about leaving? She had spent the whole night thinking over Jungkook's words, and the decision she made realized that she don't want divorce after all. It was confusing for her too. "Do you know what are you saying?" he asked. Ian nodded, hesitantly, feeling a lump in her throat. Her heart fluttered at his touch as she looked into his eyes. "I need you to think about it again, Yun. Just a few weeks ago, you wanted to be free from me. Are you sure you're not just feeling conflicted right now?" "I do still want to go from here," she admitted, but I don't want a divorce. And then she saw him looking at her like she said some alien words. Now a wave of embarrassment washed over her. What did she thought before coming here? Does she think everything will go the way she wants? I think you are just confused, he finally said. Last night I made myself pretty clear. If you ask me what I want, then I'm not confused. I still want you to stay with me here. Yes, I've confessed it many times. You are just confusing everything now. I need you to elaborate what you want. You don't have much time, I guess, to be honest. Last night, everything you said, it made me realize that maybe I am running away from my feelings. I've been so focused on living and escaping from this life that I did not stop to consider what I might be feeling. I still want to go, she admitted, but I don't know. I'm so confused. My feelings, Jungkook. I want to be with you, but at the same time, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the violence, of the danger that surrounds us every day. I'm afraid of losing myself in this world, of becoming someone I don't recognize. She paused, her gaze shifting from window as she tried to gather her thoughts. She said as her gaze shifted, as she tried to gather her thoughts. But then I look at you, I see something different. I see Jungkook who opened up to me last night, who showed me his vulnerable side. I see Jungkook who deeply cares for those he loves, who would do anything to protect them. I believe in you. I believe in the person you have shown me. The person you could be if I given chance to. But I also want to leave because I'm afraid what might happen if I stay. Jungkook leaned back on the table listening to her words. So what do you want? You want me to wait for you? Her heart skipped a beat at his question. Did she really have the right to ask him? She was just another person passing through his life, nothing special. I don't know. I don't know if I have the right to ask that of you, because you have already decided everything. You have every right to ask me. But before that, Yun, I will ask you 2 questions, and I want you to answer them without hesitation. So she nodded her head. It was now clear. It was now and never. He leaned in closer, his eyes pouring towards with an intensity that made her. Did she trust him? Trust was a fragile thing, something she had been hesitant to give anyone, especially in a world as dangerous as his. But with Jungkook, it was different. Despite his flaws, despite the darkness that surrounded him, there was something about him that she couldn't deny. He had always been there for her, always protected her, always made her feel safe. And so without hesitation, she nodded. Yes, I trust you. His lips curled into a faint smile at her answer, but his expression quickly sobered as he paused his next question. Then tell me, he said, his voice dropping with a long murmur. Do you want me? Did she want him? The answer was simple yet so complicated at the same time. She couldn't deny the attraction she felt towards him, the way her pulse quickened whenever he was near. But there was more to it than just a physical desire. There was a bond between them. She denied all along, but she can't deny it any longer. She did want him, want to be with him. The hurried step of people, the pristine white tiles of the hospital hallway, a familiar sound in bustling environment. The air was laced with antiseptic scent of medicine mingling with faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee from the nearby cafe. Amidst of the organized chaos, a woman in her 20s made her way purposely towards the reception desk. She was dressed in crisp white coat, her eyes scanning the busy waiting area, taking in the sight of patients and families. It became a normal routine for her. Oh, is Dr. Park finally early today? The young woman returned the smile. Oh yeah, I finally took your advice and set an alarm, she replied with a chuckle. Good for you, it's about time. She teased, her fingers tapping away the keyboard to check the schedule. Any update on ER admission? She asked, and the receptionist looked at her. Yeah, we have a new arrival since this morning. Dr. Kim is handling the cases at the moment. Sure, then I will check in with him.